and welcome to today's video. If by the end of this video you are sitting there like, thanks Holly, I feel so much better about university, you might feel like that at the end of this video because the stuff that I'm going to talk about might make you feel a bit apprehensive and nervous and worried. But I want to make this video because all of these things are what I've experienced when I was in your position, whether you are starting university this, whether you're still at school, or whether you're at university. Personally, I would have liked to have had this before I started university, before I went into my first year, because everything is new. So I just wanted to focus on the academic side of things and the jump from school, so A-levels, to university. Like, how much harder do things get? How can you try and cope with it? And I don't want to scare you, I do not want to put you off, this is not the point of this video, but if you know that somebody else felt that way, it will make you feel a lot better. You're not alone starting university. All the freshers are in the same boat. It's not as if it's just you who might be struggling and thinking these things. Yeah, I'm waffling already. That's a great start. But yeah, I'm gonna try and be motivational. This is Holly's attempt to be motivational. University is like one of the best experiences of your life. I never thought I'd sit here and say that, but it definitely is. It's gonna help you guys and it's gonna hopefully make you feel as if you know a bit more, because otherwise it's just this massive black box and nobody knows what happens at university, you know? I just thought though, before we get into the main part of this video, I would do a quick rundown of who I am. Before we know it, we'll have someone commenting asking what's my name again, and I'll just be like, hello. My name's Dorothy, we'll go with that. Holly is my name, my channel is Holly Gabrielle. Going into my final year of university, I'm doing a biology degree. The full name is Biological Natural Sciences. I did my A-levels in biology, chemistry and maths. I went straight on to university thereafter, essentially, so I didn't take a gap year. All the important details. Right. Where should we start? Okay, you finish your A-levels, the end of a very long running marathon. When you get your results, it's like the culmination of this huge mountain. You've been at school for 7 years of your life. If you've applied to university and you're going to university, that is essentially your next step. You kind of feel like at the end of A-levels, what I did anyway, it was a sigh of relief, yes, because I'd got into the university I wanted to go to, I'd got the grades that I wanted, but then obviously university approaches quite quickly over the summer. It's a new academic journey, shall we say. You know, you suddenly realize that you're embarking on something completely new. I mean, you're gonna start specializing more, you're gonna start doing something that you really truly love. So in some respects, it feels really amazing and it's all really exciting. But on the other hand, and I personally felt this way, I was very nervous because I was like, am I gonna get on academically? Is it gonna be too hard for me? Am I gonna struggle? You know, am I not gonna get very good grades? How much should I prepare? If I can prepare for anything, what should I do? Should I be doing anything? You know, all these questions start creeping in and it's a bit like, oh my gosh. But that is why your savior, Holly, ding dong, hi, I'm here. I'm gonna sit here and tell you and talk you through my first 2 years, what I've experienced, what I've learned, and what you guys can kind of expect. Okay, so let's just jump straight in. Preparation over the summer, because you guys are gonna be like, Holly, did you do any work over the summer before university? And no, I did nothing over that summer because, as I said, I finished school and I finished A-levels and I was very, you know, exhausted, to be honest with you. My brain was like, I need a bit of time off. So in that summer, I did nothing. I didn't do any studying at all, and I didn't know what I should do, if anything, and would it even have been useful? And the answer is probably not. It might feel as if you're going to have this really long summer and then you're going to start university and you're going to have forgotten everything. That is what I was worried about, but trust me, it will come flooding back. University is a whole new ball game and you don't know what you're going to start with, what modules, what specific topics. So I mean, you could revise your A-level notes and stuff, but to be honest with you, I don't really see the point in doing that. I mean, you finished your A-levels, you deserve the rest. Some of my friends were sent reading lists. As a science student, I didn't have a reading list. I'm all for studying. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be studying. As a biology student and as a science student, then I say there's no harm in looking or reading some papers. Some of the concepts you probably won't have heard of, but read something on a topic that you find really interesting, because there's no harm in doing that. Please don't take that as if I'm telling you you have to do something in preparation, because I did nothing. In terms of academics and studying, the things that are new for university are obviously, you've got lectures. That's going to be for everyone going to university. You're going to have lectures. You are going to be lectured for quite a few hours during your degree. A person at the front, male or female academic, and they essentially talk to you, talk to you about something. I don't know, normally for about an hour. Our lectures are 50 minutes, I think. Sometimes they might run over. You can ask questions, but generally people don't. As a science student, we got given some handouts so we could follow and then add extra notes alongside. If you're a humanities student, you don't tend to get given notes, you just make your own from scratch. It's just a whole load of students essentially sitting there for an hour watching someone talk. Sounds fascinating. And sometimes they are. They can be really interesting sometimes. Other times, they might not be quite interesting. I feel the biggest and scariest thing for me with lectures was that I really didn't know how to make notes. Essentially, my whole first year, I was confused, I was lost. A lecturer doesn't pause at all. For us at Cambridge, we're not allowed to record anything at all. Some lectures are put online, but for me, I've never had a lecture that I've been able to re-watch at all. So you either hear it or you don't, you write it down or you don't, sort of thing. You can't write everything down that they're saying. That is not the point of a lecture. I kind of think it's a waste of your time and your energies. You should really just be filtering the most important information, and again, that comes with practice. If a lecturer mentions a paper that really interests you, then write it down and you do your own research into that field, because essentially everyone is being taught the same course, but if you can find something that really interests you, then it's going to be better because you're obviously going to enjoy that more. And when it comes to exams, if you're thinking that far ahead, then if bringing something in that's unique will only make your essay stand out more. You might find nothing that interests you in a lecture, and that's fine. Just make some notes, get the gist of most things, but then there'll be other lectures that are much more exciting and up your street. You will have a PowerPoint screen to look at and you'll be listening, so you kind of just have to get used to looking at something and listening. That was quite difficult for me as well, because I was like, do I just watch the PowerPoint screen or do I just listen to this person talk to me? Like, how am I supposed to do this all at once and write things down? You will just get used to it, and if it takes you a long time, that is fine, because I spent basically my whole first year trying to work out how I should make my lecture notes and how effective different strategies are. It's going to take you time to find a way that works for you. You have to just think back to school. Did you learn straight away how best you're going to learn and revise? No, it takes time and practice. If you're a science student, then tune in now, because you're probably going to have labs. If you're an arts-based student, you might not have labs. Gosh, in first year, oh my gosh, labs were honestly a nightmare. Our labs were huge classes, and I would literally describe them as chaotic and pretty much a chaotic mess, because it was just like so many students in white coats with goggles on, power walking around frantically, looking stressed, trying to do the experiment, trying to take notes from the demonstration boards. There was too much to do, they were long, I wasn't allowed to drink water, I felt dehydrated. They got a bit better in second year because they were a bit smaller classes, you had more demonstrators, they were more willing to help you. In labs and supervisions, which I'm going to talk about afterwards, I really did feel stupid. I felt as if I just wasn't intelligent enough and clever enough to be there, because I felt as if I was surrounded by people and other students that literally knew everything and knew so much more than me. It was just very fast paced, especially in labs. You didn't really have time to think about what was going on. I'd always ask someone near me, or there'll be one person that I'd always ask questions. It'd be another student and someone that I kind of knew. I just felt like this annoying little pest running around, like I don't get anything, because I didn't at the time. I felt so bad because I was always asking questions, but I just felt so lost, and I felt as if I was the only one who didn't get it. Sometimes I was just on the verge of tears. But for me personally, I don't get things obviously straight away sometimes, but I think the key thing with me is that I need time to just sit down in my room on my own to just focus and follow what was going on, because then I'd understand it. Like, I'd understand it perfectly. But in the lab situation, my brain just was this massive fog and I couldn't get anything, and I was asking stupid questions, I felt. I mean, if you can read the lab notes ahead, that did help me, but there were always things that I'd be confused about when I was in the lab. I'd be like, I don't get this. In my second year, I kind of learnt to, yes, ask questions and try and follow what was going on, but if I didn't get it there and then, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna take this back to my room and I'm gonna sit quietly and read it myself, and hopefully I will understand it, and most of the time that worked. And then it's kind of similar in supervisions. So at Oxbridge you have things called supervisions where you're with an academic. They're called small group teaching sessions, I think that's the best way to put it. So it's you with some other students. It's not normally one-on-one, usually it's 1 to 2 or 1 to 3. They're an hour long, and you essentially go through the lecture notes, you go through the things that you don't understand. They might ask you some questions to kind of push you a bit. There's supposed to be a time when you can really like deepen your understanding and stuff like this. In my first year, I was like, supervisions don't really help me. Sometimes they did, but most of the time I'd, again, be sitting there like, this is not helping me and I feel stupid. I didn't really think the supervisions were that great, but then in second year it did change around because I really got a lot out of my supervisions in second year. I think again, it just took time for me to get used to. So yeah, in my first year, for one of my modules, we had this supervision. It was myself and 2 other boys that I did not know. And I just remember being in those supervisions and every time I literally felt as if I was going to cry because again, I felt stupid. Because I didn't know the boys, it didn't really help me. I didn't really follow what was going on in the lecture. So when it came to the supervision, I had no clue what was going on. One of the boys knew all the answers to the questions and was really like going for it. The supervisor thought I was really quiet and really shy and probably as if I didn't know anything because I wasn't saying anything. And then when he did ask me a question, I remember feeling really frantic and put on the spot, and I had to say I don't know because I didn't know at the time. And that was when I was literally just about to cry. I don't really think I have anxiety, but I do have a bit of anxiety when I'm in those situations, and I don't know if it's all been triggered from that first term. I don't know. Even now to this day, I feel very anxious in small groups with other people talking about academic things. In like debates or in supervisions, I'm still quite a quiet and reserved person. I feel a lot better if it's just one-on-one, because in my second year I did have a supervision when it was just me and a supervisor, and I felt so much happier in that situation. Obviously it's a rarity, but I just really felt that I could ask any question that I wanted to and not feel embarrassed and not feel as if my peers were going to judge me. Obviously that's not the case, and I hope that's not the case, but sometimes I feel that the anxiety is because I'm worried about what my friends and other people in the supervision are going to think about me and my answers and my questions. I get really worried. I make mistakes and I feel as if I stumble and my answers aren't great. I feel a lot better writing things down, or if it's just me talking to one other person, you know. If I feel as if I know the people well, then I feel a lot better about it. But if I'm in a group and I'm with people that I don't really know, I do get really worried. So that is when the Holly introvert is definitely a thing. I'd say that if you have things like that, if you have supervisions or if you have similar things, I'd suggest for anyone, just find a group that you feel comfortable in with friends and with people that you know and that you get along with, because the worst thing for me was just being in a group with people I didn't know or I only knew a little bit, because it just really put me off. Then you get set work at university. It's different to school. You don't get homework. It's more like essays every week that you have to do, or calculations, stuff like that. Yes, things are gonna get harder. At school, I kind of got things in the classroom and then it was just a case of learning it for an exam, whereas at university I felt it was a bit different in the fact that I had to actually understand something and then I had to learn it, sort of thing. I think of it all just being kind of relative though, because you're getting older, so it makes sense that you have to learn harder things and new things, otherwise it's just going to be boring. If you are sitting there in lectures and supervisions and you know everything, then there is no point you being there. There's no point you paying a lot of money to be at university if you know everything, you know? It shouldn't be a bad thing that you're going to be challenged at university. About exams, I'm not going to talk too much about exams because I did do a whole video about the comparison of school and university exams, so you can watch that if you want, and I will link it somewhere up here. For me, I was aiming at university for a 2-1. I was like, I will be perfectly happy with a 2-1. When I came up with a first in first year, and then I've done the same in second year, it was a surprise to me because in first year especially, I had no clue what I had to do to get a 2-1 or a 2-2 or a first even. I had no clue what these grades were worth, sort of thing. You've just got to do the best you can. If I got a 2-2, I would have been happy with that, because university is a journey. Like, if you get a 2-2 and then you can progress. University is not just about academics, it's all about the social side of things as well. So don't worry if your first year doesn't go as well as you'd hoped or anything like that. Just enjoy everything about university, because it's a whole new chapter, as I keep saying. Other small things to mention: the fact that you have to be a lot more independent. You have to take work truly in your responsibility. Yeah, you just really got to direct your own learning. The time is gonna come, guys. You're gonna have to, you know, move away from the safety of school. From like 9 AM to 3:30 in the afternoon, you're in school, this one same building with everyone, whereas at university you go to different places and you feel more alone, should I say. If you finish a lecture and you feel lost, then you stick with your friends and you might go back to college or your accommodation. You could go to a library and work more collaboratively and feel as if you're not alone, because you aren't alone at university. You're all in the same boat. It just means that you've got to be proactive in scheduling time to do things with friends, go to society and see people. But yeah, ultimately It's not as scary as it sounds. You're probably sitting there now, and as I said at the beginning, you're probably thinking like, oh my gosh, Holly, why did you tell me all this stuff? I feel so much worse than I did at the start of this video. Like, why did I click and watch this video? You might be feeling that way, but everyone just needs to be able to relate and feel as if they're not alone and they're not this only person feeling that way, because I can assure you, you are not going to be the only person feeling that way. University is so much fun. Academically, socially, in every aspect, it's so much fun. It will be an amazing time of your life, I'm telling you now. You know, I really hope this has been useful. So please like it if you enjoyed it. Tell me in the comments if you're going to university this year, and if so, where you're going. Congratulations to everyone who got the results, and you're gonna do well, people, wherever you go and whatever you're doing. If you're new around here, you know you can subscribe and hit the notification bell. I always forget to say that if you want to know when I upload. Bye!